Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the first video of 2021. Now, I tried to record this video last week. I tried it 3 times and it just didn't really come together. I felt like I wanted to do a more off-the-cuff video, but also I felt that I hadn't got across everything that I wanted to say. So I'm having another go this week. I've been thinking about it during the week. So hopefully this one will go a lot better than the last ones. What I quickly want to do is have a look back on 2020. It wasn't a great year, so I don't want to spend too long looking at that. And then we'll leap ahead and we'll look at what's to come in 2021. Now, 2020 obviously saw the global pandemic, which meant that a lot of games that I'd planned to have in the year unfortunately didn't happen. But it did give us some time to get those army projects a bit more started and underway. At the beginning of the year, I said I was going to do a series on starting to collect an army and following that through. I did one episode on my Vistula Legion, but it didn't quite go how I wanted it to. I think it's a good subject and it's what I'm going to return to, but I think my approach to it was just wrong in that instance. So that's something I want to look at again for 2021. We'll come to that when I look ahead. But one thing to say is that the Vistula Legion is coming along very nicely. I'm halfway through the infantry. I've got 4 battalions done. And I've got half of one of the cavalry regiments done as well. So it's not going too bad. I wanted to get it finished in the year, but obviously other things have happened and that's not quite been the case. But I'm quite happy with where we're at the moment. Hopefully that'll continue this year and we'll get that one done. I've also started a Bavarian army as well. Now that's looking quite good. You've not seen that in any battle reports yet. That's using the HAT 28mm miniatures. Now they are a lot smaller than Perry or Warlord and the upcoming Victrix ones. So it's a bit of a shame that I bought a whole load of them and then Victrix announced about a week later they were doing them. But you know, these things, you could put projects off forever if you're worried about if they're going to come out in plastic or not. So that's coming along quite nicely. I'm quite pleased with them. And I'm also... Oh no, I'll talk about that when we look ahead to 2021. So that's my 2 main army projects for last year, were the Vistula Legion and the Bavarians. They're going okay. I don't think they're going better. I think they're going okay. Videos on the channel wise, well, I thought going into this that, you know, well, because of the lockdowns and things like that, I've not done as much hobby content this year as I would have liked. But looking back on the videos I've put out, actually, there's not too bad. We started our first live streams, so if you haven't seen any of those, check those out. I'll be doing some more of those at the end of January. I've got a week off at the end of the month, so I might spend an afternoon or 2 just hanging out with you guys, and we'll have a bit of a live stream paint-along, so that should be quite cool. So we started those, and we've got a few battles in. One against the unfortunately late Andy's Confederation of the Rhine troops. That was quite a nice one. One filmed in my dad's attic against his Brits with the starter armies. And that goes back to another series that we did in the year, which was the how to start collecting certain armies. Now, already some of those videos have been outdated by new releases, or they will be outdated when upcomingly announced releases finally come out. So, luckily for me, that means that I get to do those videos again. But before I go back over old ground, I do want to do a few more of those. Some of the more obscure nations. Certainly an army that I'm getting more interested in as we go in to 2021 is the Italians. So we might be looking at something to do with them. It's also a nice variation on doing the French as well, because it's basically the same figures, just with a little bit of difference. So as I alluded to there, we've got some fantastic news for releases in 2021. Victrix seem to be really concentrating on Napoleonics, and Wargames Atlantic is a new company to the Napoleonic sphere. They're releasing some British 95th rifles. You can use them as Royal American rifles as well. I want to say they're the 60th. And they also have announced their... What else have they announced? Their Prussian Reserve Infantry. So that's part of a new series they're doing. You don't get any command or anything like that. You just get 6 figures on a sprue. You get 10 sprues for 25 quid. That's ridiculously good value. So I think that's a great step forward for the hobby. I think it's a great step forward for 28mm gaming. One of the things that I hear a lot of people say is, well, you should play 6mm, you should play 15mm because it's cheaper than 28mm. I have to point out it's not really. And with these new figures, and if we get more down that route, then it's definitely not going to be cheaper than 28mm. So that's cool as well for someone like me who enjoys seeing the bigger figure scales out there. If you prefer 50mm or you prefer 6mm or whatever, then I think that's absolutely fine as well, of course. It's let's concentrate on getting the figures on the table rather than arguing about what scale is the best, what rules are the best, or how many buttons everyone should have on their cuffs. Let's just get the figures down, let's start rolling some dice. To wit, now hopefully either towards the end of this year or maybe the start of next year, we're going to be running some larger games. Now, I'm based in Sheffield, so it might be here, it might be down in Nottingham. I haven't quite decided yet. We'll have to see where the world is after the end of the coof, if that day ever comes. But hopefully I'm going to put on some big Napoleonic games around about sort of the end of the year, maybe start of December, or perhaps the start of next year, January, end of January, start of February next year. So that's 2022, just to get some stuff going on, really. I've been thinking about for a while how we can make a tournament format for Black Powder. Now, those of you who don't like tournament gaming, don't worry, I don't mean that it's going to be super competitive. What I mean is how can we get a number of games in, maybe 4 in a weekend, I think, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, Saturday and Sunday, against 3 different opponents. Well, I guess 4 different opponents, sorry, just to just to get those games in and get playing some different people. So that's something that I'm looking forward to in the back of my mind going forward. For the channel-wise, well, looking at the series that we started in 2020, we started the how to get started in the hobby one, where I talked about the Vistula Legion. That's one which I'm going to start again. So I still think it's a good idea, but I'm going to start again with a different approach. The second one that we started was the how to start collecting, and I think that's gone really well, and that continues into this year. We've continued our deep dive videos. Now I've got one more to do on the Prussians. That's going to be in Waterloo. That's probably going to be February, that one. I've not had a huge amount of time to do as much research as I want. That's probably going to be a long one as well. It's probably going to be about an hour. Speaking of which, the deep dives I did into the Guard, both the French Guard and the Russian Guard, really, really proud of those videos. There's a couple of things which I can look at and be like, oh yeah, that's wrong, or I should have done that differently. But no, I'm really proud. Long form videos, I'm really, really proud of those. Please let me know if you think an hour is a bit too long. I'm aware that it will be for a lot of people. I mean, that's a full TV documentary length of time for me to be droning on. But there's a lot that I like to try and get in these. If you'd rather they were split up into smaller videos, then please let me know, and I'll take that feedback on board. So I'm just trying to think. There was one more thing that we started as well, which was the Which Army Suits My Play Style series. Now, it's a bit of a funny one, that one. I've only done the one episode so far, and I've done it on the Russians. I might do it the other way round going forward, though. And I might look at the different play styles and then talk about which armies suit those play styles. Not quite decided yet. Not quite sure which way I'm going to go with it, which is why I've not done any more in that series. Going into 2021, I'd like to do more of those, and I would also like to do more about actually the pre-game stuff. So picking armies, looking at orders of battle, looking at army lists, looking at points, all the different ways that we can get our armies onto the tabletop. And I think that's going to come into when I do the new series of Getting Started, basically, with looking at starting an army from scratch and building it up from there. I'm holding off. I might do Spanish, and I'm going to wait for Victrix to release their plastic Spanish before I dive into that one. I think it's Victrix or is it Wargames? No, it's Wargames Atlantic, isn't it? That are doing the Spanish. So. Or is it Victrix? I can't remember. Whoever's doing them anyway. There's plastic Spanish on the way. I'm waiting for them, and then we'll get it done. I'm also looking to widen the war as well. We've talked a bit about the Egypt. We talked about Muhammad Ali Pasha in one of my Napoleonic figures videos. Another one which I'm really proud of. If you haven't seen it, check that one out. But we've not really done anything on the War of 1812. A subject that I'm getting more interested in. One of the problems I've got with it, though, is I know a lot of my listeners are American, and you guys will know far more about the War of 1812 than I ever will. So the only problem I've got is what I say going to be interesting? Because if you already know it all, it's not very interesting. And am I going to get a load of stuff wrong? Well, of course I'm going to get a load of stuff wrong. This is me we're talking about. I always get stuff wrong. But it might be a question of picking my battles, as it were, in that one. One thing that I'd like to do a bit more of is naval warfare. I think I said this in the look ahead last year as well, but it just hasn't really, unfortunately, hasn't really come to pass. But that's something I want to look at in future. Egypt a bit more, as I mentioned. I haven't touched on India at all, and that's something which could be rectified as well. Especially as the Perrys do some very nice sepoys, and they've just released their plastic Afghans, who could very, very easily be used as Indian tribals. So, yeah, no. That's something I want to do looking forward, is extending it out a little bit. But I still want to focus on the main centre of the war, which was Europe. Now, something that I am thinking about is maybe doing some campaign-focused videos, which would be how to adapt that campaign for the tabletop, shall we say. There's not really much point in me doing, and Napoleon attacked here and he was counterattacked by Archduke Charles here, or whatever, because there are channels out there that do it way, way better than me. Epic History TV, they've got the budget and, let's be honest, the technical skill and expertise to actually do a really good job of those. So if you don't check out Epic History TV, I highly recommend it. They're a very good channel. So yeah, and that's it really. I don't want to go on too long for this. Obviously, I want to be able to do more battles. That doesn't depend on me, unfortunately. It depends on lockdown and things like that. With the departure of General Andy, the opportunity to play games might be a bit less as well. But I know General Dan is looking to step into the breach, and maybe even General Dad could be strong-armed into playing some more games. I don't know, we'll see. I think he'll definitely be up for some more naval stuff, being an old salty sea dog like what he is. So yeah, that's it really. I don't want to belabor the point. Next week I'm going to be doing a deep dive / Napoleonic figure video. It's going to be a combined one, something I've not done before. I'm really, really excited about it. It's a great subject, really exciting and interesting. So I hope I'll see you then. I'm sorry that it's been 2 weeks since the last video. So I guess we'll start 2021 as we take on with a delay of a week. But no, hopefully it won't be that long. Just as a signing off, I am currently working on some Russian dragoons, and in fact, I said to you I was going to tell you what my project for 2021 was, and I haven't. So one of them is going to be the Spanish, that's for certain. Another one, and it's a bit naughty, I don't know if I can say it on the channel, is I'm doing a Norman army, 28mm Norman army, Conquest Games miniatures. Incredible, cannot recommend them highly enough. Their boxes are terrible, their box art is shockingly bad, but the figures inside are really, really nice. So that's another project. And I'm also going to do, and it's a continuation from my deep dive videos, I'm also hoping to collect the Russian Guard as well. Now the Russian Guard I'm doing something a little bit differently with. I'm going to collect those entirely from front rank. So it's a manufacturer that I have used before. I've used them quite a lot. In fact, my Vistula Legion Lancers are front rank at the moment. But I'm going to use them entirely for the Russian Guard, using their reinforcement packs and some other stuff as well. I say that actually. There is a Russian manufacturer I found. I'm going to be trying to use some of their parts as well. But for now, I will be cataloguing the journey of the Russian Guard from paper to screen, shall we say, to tabletop. But I'll also be doing that with the Spanish as well, and we'll see which one is better. I suggest the Spanish one will probably be better because there'll be room for more variation there. But that is it for the look forward for the channel. 2021 is going to be an absolutely incredible year for Napoleonic gaming. We've got Spanish in plastic, we've got these new unit builder boxes coming out, we've got 95th rifles coming out in plastic, the Perrys have announced Russian and Prussian dragoons and cuirassiers coming out, well, dragoons at the moment. We've got the whole thing's just going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be a great year for Napoleonic wargaming, even if there's no shows, even if there's no games, anything like that. I know that we'll make the best of the year that we can. And it's at this point, I don't want to get too mushy, but I just want to say thank you so much for supporting the channel this year. It's really gone from strength to strength. We've now got over 5,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for that. We ran our advent calendar competition at Christmas. That was great fun. The winner he hasn't yet, I'll be honest. He hasn't got his prize winging his way across the Atlantic just yet, because weirdly, the Outpost, they sell Albion Triumphant Volume 1, but not Volume 2. Super weird, I can't really work that one out. But as soon as they arrive, I'm going to package them up and send them off to the good old US of A. So, thank you very much for listening, and I shall see you next week for our deep dive / Napoleonic figure on the Duke of Brunswick and the Black Legion. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.